Let's get on with the auction today.
235, 240.
Every year, tens of thousands of properties are sold at auction.
Meredith's bidder, well done.
From modest 2 up, 2 downs to waterfront mansions.
We are throwing the kitchen sink at this now.
More and more first-time buyers are seeing it as their golden ticket onto the property ladder. But these quick buys are often far from perfect, hiding some nasty surprises.
You haven't been in? No, not yet.
Hey, let's go in. I'm Sarah Beeny and I've been buying, building and transforming homes for 35 years. And I'm fascinated by the world of auctions. In this series, I'll be offering a dose of realism.
We've got all these lovely flamey ideas and I'm pouring water on at that.
As brave new owners take their homes from derelict to diamond.
I will be moving in at the end of this month. What I'll be moving into, of course, remains to be seen.
And we'll go behind the scenes of some of the country's biggest auction houses.
Great bidding, guys. Perseverance paid off.
Discovering whether property auctions are a risk too far or a great way to get the home of your dreams.
I am really proud of myself. This is my first home.
This time from a mansion on the Cornish coast, that is sensational, to a cottage in North Wales. 2 couples with challenging properties and everything on the line.
We are spending every last thing that we have.
Well, it's grisly at the moment, but it's only up from here, isn't it?
And one auction house is hoping for their biggest ever sale.
Quick.
You always want to start with a bang, and we've done that.
Thank you, everybody, for attending our auction today.
I'm heading to the small village of Flushing on the north side of Falmouth Harbour in Cornwall, where large properties can go for £4 or £5 million. It's a spectacular spot for this beachfront mansion, which went to auction in a derelict condition. It was guided at £2 million and bought by Danielle, a designer and furniture maker, and retired banker Danny. They've been together 5 years and have 6 children between them.
With love at first sight.
It was amazing.
For Danielle, it wasn't just Danny she fell for straight away, it was also love at first sight for this property.
First time I saw this house, I'd have been about 20 years old and I'd just moved down here to go to university. This beautiful row of houses and you just think, God, who lives in those? And there's always been this one house. I never imagined that I would be one of these people, but when we met and we were looking to try and find somewhere for both of us to live with the number of children that we've got, we'd come down here for a walk with the dogs and I'd pointed out this house to Danny.
It was totally derelict.
Yeah.
Clearly it wasn't loved, hasn't been lived in for a long time. And we thought, what a waste.
And then when we weren't expecting it, an email dropped into the inbox and it was, you might be interested in this property. Saw the picture of it and we're just like, no, that's our house. That's our house.
The original Edwardian part of the house was built in 1906, with extensions added either side in the 1950s and 1990s. But the 50s wing was found to have what's called mundek, a kind of concrete rot local to Cornwall, meaning that part of the house would have to be pulled down, which Danny and Danielle knew when it went to auction.
In rounded terms with some auction fees, it was about £2.25 million. This was certainly less than we would have gone to had we been forced. So we came off punching the air triumphantly. It's a lot of money. Now we know quite how much work it's required. Perhaps we overpaid.
Yeah.
Some would say we certainly overpaid. But in that moment, we were super happy.
Yeah.
But the dream soon turned into a nightmare. Not only would they lose the 50s wing, after extensive testing, the original part of the house was found to be structurally unsound, with the easiest option being to knock it down and start again.
We went from the kind of supreme high of the auction, having won it, through a dance that probably took the best part of a year of death by 1,000 cuts, of losing the dream of the renovation and realising it's going to be more complicated and dramatically more expensive.
We lost the 50s wing because that had Mundic. The original 1906 part of the house had been damaged too much by the poor concrete and the moving foundations. But the part we're sat in now, the turret, was actually built, I think, in 1990. And we have found that this one part of the house is built on proper foundations. This is our little saviour, isn't it? Being able to save the turret.
Now, 2 years since they bought the house, Danny and Danielle are feeling the pressure to get on with it.
There's the emotional yearning because it's been so long, and now it's starting to feel real and tangible. There are financial pressures. We have to build this to make it mortgageable, to take us out of some of the other financial arrangements we've had to lay on to keep the builders on site.
So far, it's been anything but plain sailing, stacking up more and more costly problems that are endemic to the Cornish coast. But they're determined to save what they can and make this into a future-proofed family home.
We seem to be standing in the most amazing spot in terms of the view. That is sensational. So you knew some of the problems with it,
Yep.
and that it was more than a lick of paint everywhere.
Yes, we knew there was a huge amount of work for it. There's no two ways about it. The house had been made out of a really traditional Cornish material called cob, which is stone, mud, bit of clay,
Gunge.
some lime, all of
Gunge.
this stuff. And actually it was hiding really well some quite serious structural issues because clay moves.
That kind of constant movement.
Yeah.
That
And it reached a place where the contractors who we've got on site were like, actually, we can't work under this, it's too dangerous. So we had to let go.
But it took a long time because, one, financially, we didn't know where we'd be able to fund anything more major like a rebuild.
But when we started doing the site investigation and looking into the ground, they did the first pits and found we're on clay. So we went down to 5 metres and the results came back, it's clay. And then eventually we went down to nearly 20 metres and they found no stable ground, nothing.
So if you were going 20 metres down and still hitting clay,
Yes.
did you go further still?
No, that's where the bedrock is.
So there was a consensus from everybody, the only way you can have stable foundations in this location is by piling down to the bedrock.
You drill massive, great big holes down to solid rock right down in the ground, near the Earth's core, near Australia.
Something like that.
And then you pour concrete with steel in all
That's
the way.
the one.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are spending every last thing that we have. So we are throwing the kitchen sink at this now.
Well, it's grisly at the moment, but it's only up from here, isn't it? This is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, one day.
The property sits 20 metres away from the cliff edge, which has presented more problems.
We knew from the beginning we were going to have to rebuild the seawall. That was one of the things that wasn't a surprise in terms of the catalogue of budget-sapping necessities.
But you had to build it quicker than you were perhaps expecting.
Did. We had such a big storm that it was shaken so much it peeled away and the face of the slope collapsed down and the whole thing needed stabilising. But to do that, we had to build the wall to make it safe to stabilise.
But still, that would have been a massive undertaking and cost a fortune, presumably,
Yes,
that
yeah.
you weren't expecting to spend initially.
Rounded numbers, about £100,000.
And so was there anything else that you weren't expecting?
Yes, we did have a bat issue.
Bats are a protected species because they eat bugs that would otherwise have to be killed with pesticides. If found, building work must stop until you can provide alternative accommodation for them.
We've had to build a 50 cubic metre extension to the building. It's huge.
So huge delay and more costs.
A lot more cost.
And how much
yeah.
did your bat cave cost to build?
We think it cost us about £40,000. Because
There were 6 bats.
So let's have a look at inside the bit of house that's still standing.
yes.
Come on then. This is an amazing room. And how are you dealing with the windows?
These were put in the 90s. They are cheap pine and they've lasted like cheap pines, they've gone. So what we're replacing them with is the same windows we're using in the main house. We found a lovely company to build us some hardwood sash windows and they'll be doing these ones here as well.
Even a hardwood is a brave material to use for windows, especially next to the sea.
It's scaring me.
Yeah.
Have you got all the windows coming? Is that
No, we haven't ordered them yet. We're literally trying to get the order in right now. So
Days away.
It's the right time for a conversation.
It's such an exciting project. I can't wait to see how you get along with it.
Danny and Danielle had a substantial renovation budget of about £1 million. But with so many unforeseen expenses already, realistically, it's likely to cost them twice that to rebuild the house to its full glory. But having spent so much already, they have no choice but to carry on.
To buy a derelict home on a crumbling cliff face for millions of pounds was certainly risky. But let's hope that fortune favours the bold.
Coming up, a couple with big ideas but no clear plan.
We need a bit of realism, to be honest. We could have got ourselves into all end of trouble.
Whether you've got 100,000 or 2 million to spend, buying at auction comes with its risks. So it pays to do your research to avoid getting stung. In Cornwall, Danny and Danielle took a huge risk which has so far taken more time and cost more money than they'd ever imagined when they bought at auction. They're still waiting on the crucial materials to rebuild their dream home.
We have sadly had quite a significant delay, probably about 2 months, on getting the main steel structure delivered.
It's been really upsetting, actually, to have to pause everything, hasn't it? We can't do anything until we've got this in place.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're working on the one remaining part of the house, stripping plasterboard so they can re-insulate the walls and ceiling of the turret.
This is really old insulation, and if you look over here, it's not actually consistent. We've got massive gaps where there's nothing at all. So if we take it off, we can insulate it properly like the rest of the house.
Let's do it.
When insulating, you need to be careful not to leave gaps where the windows meet the walls or between the roof rafters. These weak spots are known as a cold bridge.
Broke. That was cool. Yeah, I think we'll use the hammer for the rest.
I think the hammer's the way.
But taking off the plasterboard now could create more problems, as behind the fiberglass insulation, the plywood is in worse condition than they'd expected.
Is that water damage or the stain?
That is water damage, and I think that's what we've got to be a little bit cautious about, is not leaving this more exposed than it already is. Unfortunately, we're going to have to pause again, which means another delay, but we're used to this now. It's really frustrating because actually we've been waiting so long to make this habitable. My kids are getting older. The whole point is having all this space so we can make this beautiful family home. The worry is that actually they're going to be too old to live here by the time it's finished, so we've got to get on and get it done.
My next stop is Llangollen, North Wales, an area of outstanding natural beauty, where a 3-bed detached home on the outskirts of town might go for £200,000 to £300,000. Nearby is this 3-storey detached cottage. Built on a hill, the lower floor is partially underground. It was originally a Victorian cobbler's shop, with the top 2 floors added 100 years later. Now it belongs to agricultural teacher and mayor of Llangollen, Aled, who is renovating with his fiancée, Sarah, who works in the spa industry.
So we met on Tinder.
Yeah, and 3 years later we're here now, trying to finish building a house before we get married.
Me and Alid don't yet live together, so I really need this house to be done so I can see if I can survive him in a confined space before I tie myself to him legally for the rest of my life.
I previously did a house renovation and ultimately had to sell that. So I've actually moved back home with my parents, which is a little bit embarrassing. But hopefully, once we get this sorted, I can move in straight away.
For me, there is such a time crunch on getting this renovation done because my house that I was living in was damaged by water. So the insurance have put me into alternative accommodation, but the alternative accommodation I only have for the next 4 months. So for so many multiple reasons, I need this house done ASAP, please.
No pressure. So I bought this house at auction 2 years ago, and it was awful state, but I felt that was probably my golden ticket into getting a cheap house. I virtually spent every penny I had, so I had 105,000, bought the property for 101, and the 4,000 just went on fees and solicitors. So it's been a very much start from the ground up again. The property isn't mortgageable because basically the state it was in, everything had to be ripped out and start from scratch. So it's been financed basically through my wages coming in and going straight out again. I knew that there was a lot of work in it, but probably didn't realise there was as much work involved as we're currently doing now.
I wasn't involved in the buying of this house, but I kind of wish I was, because I wouldn't have bought this house, if I'm perfectly honest with you.
And I think with any auction property, you've kind of got to see beyond what's in front of you. But initially, it was kind of just, wow, what have I done?
With all of the budget for the renovation coming out of their monthly paychecks, I want to make sure Sarah and Alid are making the most of their hard work. What are your plans for the house at the moment? Talk me through it.
We're still struggling with the layout a little bit.
What's your current plans for the layout?
So upstairs is 2 bedrooms, one with an ensuite and one with just a toilet and a sink. Downstairs, we're thinking like a 3rd bedroom. Come snug.
Do you mean the middle floor?
The middle floor, yeah. The other room meant to be like a dining room, and then downstairs a master bathroom, kitchen, and another kind of living snug area.
It's a really complicated layout, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's why it went to auction.
Yeah.
That's why it was cheap, is because it's 3 stories. One of them is underground at this because it's on a hill.
Yeah.
And then you've got a 3rd floor, which,
Yes.
because it's quite wee, the access takes up quite a lot of
100%.
space because you've got to get stairs going up 3 stories.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
bizarre, because if you look at it, it looks like a big house, but none of the rooms are especially big.
Yeah.
And none of them have a very obvious purpose of what they should or shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And that's something that has stalled our progress in some rooms.
Well, let's have a look inside.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
So up here are the 2 bedrooms, yeah?
Yeah, straight up.
This is set to be the guest bedroom. We've got behind you is where the toilet's going to be, in a little sink.
If any of your guests want a shower or a bath, they'd go 2 stories down.
Yeah.
So if I was you, I would get a shower in there
Okay.
and make it a whole full wet room.
Yeah.
It just means
Okay.
you need to line the whole thing with tiling. And if I was you, I would take the chimney breast out and put a lintel in and take that out, because it will buy you a lot of extra space.
Yeah.
And you need the extra space. But of course that does have an effect on the floor below,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yes,
it? Because
yeah.
that wouldn't be able to use the chimney breast below. So next door is a bedroom with a proper ensuite bathroom.
Yes.
That's the master bedroom, yeah. But it's how to make the most of the space, because once you have got a double bed in, I'm worried you will be kind of shuffling to get anywhere. So bit of a head scratcher, that one.
Well, let's go down to the floor below and have a chat about that.
Okay.
So what's the plan on this floor then?
We had the idea that it might have been a dining room. However, when we started to think more and more about it, if we're going to plan on having the kitchen downstairs, it might not be very flexible of carrying all the dinner upstairs to serve up here. So we're still a bit unsure what the layout's going to be, but...
When I have Christmas with my family, there's like 23 of us, and I really want to host. I have a huge family, so I would love an area for that to be in availability. Whether this is the room for it, I don't know, but it is probably the largest room in the house.
I think the fact that you have a big family and you'd like to host 23 people is colouring your judgment when it comes to the best layout for this house. The trouble is you've got a floor below and you think, oh, I've got a floor below, so what do I do with it? Oh, maybe I should put a bathroom down there and not put a bathroom upstairs or something. I don't know what I should do. But I actually think, go back to the obvious, which is that this floor is a kitchen diner and a sitting room, and I would have this as the sitting room, partly because it's got a lovely big open fireplace, and partly because it doesn't have a window with that amazing view, and that's a better room to be snug in.
Yeah, okay.
And I would put the kitchen
into the room next door, which would be bigger if you took the chimney breast out. And then downstairs, I'd have more bedrooms.
Okay.
Sarah and Aled are planning to put their kitchen and guest bathroom in the basement. But having the living spaces on the middle floor with access to the garden would be a more natural layout. And adding a shower to the guest bathroom upstairs would be more logical. Then the basement project can be additional bedrooms when they have more time and money.
You've got all these lovely, flaming ideas, and I'm pouring water on like that, like a really miserable old.
We need I think we need a bit of realism, to be honest. We could have got ourselves into all end of trouble with work and financially as well. So.
In reality, you don't have a lot of money to do this, and you want to spend it wisely.
The biggest thing for me is getting quickly.
Get in speed. You want to be in quickly. In that case, you definitely want to do this different arrangement.
These top 2 floors could be done by Christmas, which is the dream.
Yeah.
Sarah and Aled have definitely got their work cut out here, but I think they sort of cracked on with doing work without really sitting down and making an overall plan, because it is quite complicated, the layout of this house. And the truth is you can't fit a big house into a small one, and that's currently what they're trying to do.
She basically took everything that we planned and just tore it up and said, actually, no, which isn't a bad thing, and we're definitely not upset about it.
Yeah.
We're glad that someone kind of showed us the error of our ways before we put too much time and money into it. But I do feel a little bit like back to the drawing board, perhaps. So, yeah.
There were some big kind of suggestions, and I'm just kind of looking and going, I've just plastered that.
Yeah.
Knock it all down again.
From starter flats to stately homes, both buyers and sellers are attracted to the speed of the sales at auction. Robinson and Hall auctions have been going for over 130 years. Today, their auction in Milton Keynes is set to be their biggest yet, with starting prices ranging from £10,000 to over £1 million. Lee Jackson is in charge of listing the properties for the auction.
Covering 9 counties today, so we should see a good mix of in-room bidding as well as online bidding. We are expecting this to be, fingers crossed, our biggest auction for turnover.
This is freehold vacant amenity land, about half an acre, just £10,000. Start me then at 10,000, start it 15.
The auction house charges the seller a small percentage of the final sale, so it's in their interest to get the best price. One of their techniques is to order the lots to generate maximum buzz in the room.
Sold at £160,000.
What a fantastic start, guided at 10,000. Sold at
168,000 here in the room.
160. Fantastic result. You always want to start with a bang, and we've done that. Let's hope we keep the momentum.
One of today's highly anticipated properties is Lot 23, a 2-bed house in Sandy, Wokingham.
Lot 23 is on for 150,000 is the guide price, but we are expecting that to be very popular in the bidding. Someone would have to spend quite a bit of money on that to be refurbished.
The seller is retired aircraft manufacturer Colin, selling on behalf of his late brother John.
One of the estate agents said, oh, it's a bit of a mess. If you don't want to empty it, you can actually go to auction and just sell it as seen. And we thought, oh, that's a good option, because at 75, we don't want to be going up and downstairs moving furniture. The auctioneers said, if I was you, I'd start putting it in at 150,000, because then you'll get lots of people interested. They estimated it between 200 and 220. So we thought, if it reaches that at auction, we'll be well happy.
The lower guide price is often advised by the auction house, particularly if the property needs a lot of work. This will attract buyers who see the development potential.
And lot number 23, freehold vacant, semi-detached house, 2-bed house with garage and gardens.
We've got a lot of activity on
And
this
lot
one,
number 23.
so I'm hoping for a good sale. I think there could be quite a few people in the room for this.
Well, this is John's house, just coming up for auction.
Close to the railway station. One here for improvement again.
Hopefully it'll go well.
Guided 150,000. Who'll start me then? This one, 150,000. 150, 155, 160, 165, 170, 175, 180, 185.
Always gone up very quick.
195 at the back. 205. Thank you. 210. Going for 230 now. New hand here on the right-hand side. 230. 235.
That's brilliant. 230. I'm amazed.
235. 240. He nods. 245. At £246,000 for the first time. Second time at 246. Third and final time, are we done? Sold for £246,000.
That's a brilliant, brilliant price.
Sold for 300.
Local estate agents think that once modernised, the house could be worth up to £300,000.
Today we sold 76% of the lots that we offered, and we raised over £6 million for our sellers.
Coming up, an impulsive purchase that's left a couple drowning in red tape.
It's a long way up and out to get back out of it if you need to get out. Hence why I need some doors in it.
In Cornwall, Danny and Danielle were forced to knock down 2/3 of their house. Finally, after a string of unexpected costs and delays, something is going up rather than coming down. The steels, which will form the structure of the new building.
It's such a relief to finally have everything on site. It's been such a long journey from the design point, the manufacturing, getting the materials into the county. It's here, it's actually happening. I actually feel like I could cry with happiness. Okay, I think this is the first bit of steel about to be lifted into place. Apparently they're going to start building from one side of the building all the way to the top and then complete it and bring it across to this side because it is genuinely like a giant Meccano set. Everything has to be done in the correct order, connecting the right joints at the right time. That's the plan they're working off, and every single one of these steels has a tiny code scribed into it, and they literally are going to build it like a Lego set. The bit they're starting on now is this bit over here. How exciting is that?
Over 3 floors, the design replicates many of the original features like the curved bay windows. With modern upgrades including a new double garage, a space for a lift and a spectacular south-facing balcony on the first floor.
2 years, 4 months from buying the place, and our hearts are just fluttering because now it's go, go, go. The rebuild starts now. The steels are made locally. It's about half an hour's drive from here. We've visited their factory to see the sparks flying everywhere. The design time took forever. Once that was done, they made them in about 4 weeks. Cost about £60,000 all in. It's a lot of steel. And if it holds the building up, that's money well spent. These guys are going to get the whole steel frame up this week. 4 days, they reckon. It's crazy.
End of the first day, it's gone really well. Look, we've got, I think that must be nearly a quarter of the building up. The only thing is, there are so many moving parts here, so many big components, so many different contractors. We've just got to hope nothing goes wrong, because if one thing happens, the whole thing gets pushed back. Can't have that again.
Property auctions are a way of sometimes finding interesting buildings that wouldn't normally be on the open market. You can pick up a bargain, but you can also get your fingers badly burnt. Buildings like former churches, military bunkers, or even decommissioned water towers. There were hundreds up and down the country until the late 1990s. Many have been sold off and some converted into quirky homes or bed and breakfasts. This one sits on the Leicestershire-Warwickshire border and was bought at auction 5 months ago by husband and wife Matt and Lauren, who own a rum distillery. Having outgrown their current site, they were looking for a bigger location, which didn't cost a fortune, when Matt found a local water tower up for auction. He jumped in at the guide price of $35,000 as soon as it went live, and won.
Going once, going twice, and yeah, it was ours for the guide price. So this is it. So this is our water tower, or what is a water tower at the minute, and will hopefully be a distillery in the future. The only way in it at the minute is to get in via the 3 lots of ladders on the outside, and then the same amount of ladders back down to get into the bottom of it on the inside. You coming up?
Not a chance. No. My feet are staying firmly on the ground down here, thank you.
So the plans up here in the first instance are just to kind of make it safe and whatnot. But long term, it'd be great to have like a terrace on the top here, so you can come up here, you know, sip a rum and just kind of look off into the countryside.
To make their distillery dream a reality, they need the permission of the local planning authority, who rejected their initial application, known as a pre-app, to do any kind of development on the site. I'm keen to know how much of the planning permission history Matt and Lauren knew before diving in.
How much have you spent on consultants so far?
Probably about 5k in on fees at the minute.
Okay.
Yeah, just to get to the pre-app stage.
The truth is, this is going to take a really, really long time and cost an awful lot of money to get planning, if you get planning.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you bought it, did you think about the possibility that you might not be able to get planning?
We did, yeah. I mean, it's always a risk, isn't it? You know, saying that, the guy that bought it before us bought it for 160k from Orange Communications or Vodafone, I can't remember which, and got refused for residential. So he'd already taken a big sort of slap on the wrists for his chances on it.
So he bought it for 160,000, spent all the money trying to get residential permission, failed and sold it for 35,000.
Correct.
Alarm bells, alarm bells, alarm bells. Because if somebody is prepared to walk away having lost £125,000, having spent tens of thousands of pounds trying to get permission and failed, then it's a tiny bit toxic, the whole project. But you went in with your eyes open.
We did, yeah, we did. That's why we got it. You know, we got it because it had got a history of problems. We get the planning through, then we've bought ourselves the new distillery building for, you know, a song that will be the home for the business for the foreseeable future.
And if not, you've got a really nice viewing platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This water tower sold for £35,000 in auction for a very good reason, and that is because it came with a really big question mark over its planning status. But even though they knew it might be problematic, I think it's been more problematic than they would have hoped. So fingers crossed things start going their way. In North Wales, Aled and Sarah bought their house for £100,000, but its condition might be worse than they'd first thought, as is often the case with auction properties.
So, obviously this is the porch to the house. It's not in the best of health at the moment, and it's started to become a bit dangerous. There's lots wrong with it structurally, so we can see down the side here. It's been patched. It's not actually tied into the house, so it's been patched over the years. And as you can see, they did a wonderful engineered job by stuffing a load of old newspaper in it and cementing over the top. Hopefully we'll have a look and see if we can find the date on the newspaper and find out when it was done. August the 21st, 1970. Not a recognised building product, really. They prefer, like, actual cement and bricks, I think. So you can see it's actually coming away from the house. It is getting progressively worse, so it unfortunately needs to come down. First thing we're going to take off is the ridge tiles, then we'll take the slates off, the gutters, and work our way down the barge boards and things like that. So that's the plan anyway.
So I'm quite excited to let out some pent-up aggression on this porch, to be honest. Okay. It looks better already, I think.
Yeah, it's going to let an awful lot of light in there because it was a bit like a little tunnel before, wasn't it? So.
Oh my God, that is so bad. Have you seen how bad that... What did you even call that? That looks terrible.
Yeah, I knew that was there because I'd seen it, but I didn't realise quite how bad this one was here. So it's probably good that it's come down so we can properly see what's going on.
So another job to add to the list then?
Yep, another job.
That is so bad though. Like, that needs fixing ASAP.
It's going to cost, I don't know, £1,000, £1,500 to get it fixed. So, yeah, it's money we haven't really got and time we haven't got, but we're going to have to sort of find money and time somewhere.
Right.
I'll push here, you push there.
I'll push here. You ready? Oh, Christ! Oh, OK, well, that worked quite well. Where's it going? Oh.
We have just realised that now we can't get back in the house. And
we've left the car keys inside.
Yeah.
So we were planning to do the clean-up mission another day, but it looks like we've elongated our work day by quite
several
a few
hours.
Yeah, several hours. So not a lot of foresight went into that one. Oh, crikey. Oh. Whoa, that's what I was worried about.
Porch down, Alid and Sarah have sent me an update.
We have taken down the porch.
So now the porch is down, it's even more apparent that there's movement on the front of the house. So you can see there's signs of movement here. There's a crack there. This area here has been rebuilt and repointed in the past. So I would say this needs monitoring, but over a 12-month period. So you've got the dry and the wet part of the year before doing anything to make sure that whatever you do is a permanent solution.
Here is the room with no name at the moment, the snug/living room. So the room next door is just as it was the last time you left, and plans are remaining the same to make it into a dining room, we still think.
I still don't think they've resolved the layout at all with this building. The basement on this house is a much bigger job than they think it is, and I think it's going to involve some underpinning of that front wall. So if I was them, I'd stick a temporary kitchen into one of the first floor rooms so they can move in. Coming up, can Alid and Sarah get back on track and finally move in?
Let's say we've been here working like through Christmas, freezing our little tootsies off.
In North Wales, Alid and Sarah have had some reassuring news.
So there was an initial thought that it might have been subsidence, and there was the worry we may have to underpin the house. But we've had a structural engineer come here and a stonemason, and thankfully it's not that, because that costs thousands of pounds for a couple of square feet each time. So we're going to jack the archway up, and we're going to use slate inserts to pack the archway out and repoint it afterwards.
But there's no getting round the fact that the basement is a big job, and having decided to stick to the plan of putting the kitchen down there, Alid and Sarah are working on a temporary solution upstairs.
Eventually, this is going to be a guest bedroom, but because the top two rooms are the only rooms that are kind of livable in a small amount of time, this is going to be everything but the bedroom. Eating, dining room, probably like an office, lounge. So we've been here working like through Christmas, freezing our little tootsies off.
We haven't managed to get the boiler fitted yet. It's super cold. It's been interesting working in such a cold environment, but you've got to do what you got to do.
So I actually picked these tiles. I wanted something a bit different, a bit more modern, a bit more contemporary, something textured. So I'm really, really happy with these. It costs about £360 for all of these tiles. And you might be able to see they are really big tiles. So it didn't take too long to get them up, really. Well done, gorgeous, well done.
We're getting there.
Good.
In Cornwall, since knocking down most of their property, Danny and Danielle are thinking through every detail to ensure they future-proof their new home.
Something really exciting's just arrived on site. After talking to Sarah, we had to do a little bit of head scratching about our windows.
Sarah's advice was coastal location, Windows will get shredded by the situation if you don't have highly durable windows. And our end choices reflected that advice, and we're really, really happy.
These come from a Norwegian company, and they're designed to be placed into coastal areas that are really exposed. Here you go. So on the outside, they are powder-coated aluminium, which is the thing I think that gives it the 60-year guarantee. But on the inside, I don't know if I lift this up here, the inside it's still traditionally shaped and carved wood. So best of both worlds.
Every single piece of glazing is triple glazed. So one of the silver linings of having to have rebuilt so much of the house is it's going to be incredibly eco and well insulated, and having triple glazing was an important part of that equation.
When Mayor of Llangollen, Aled, bought his 3-storey cottage on a hill for £100,000 at auction, he had no idea how much work was in store. But for him and fiancée Sarah, time was of the essence.
I really need this house to be done so I can see if I can survive him in a confined space before I tie myself to him legally for the rest of my life.
Despite scarce funds and some unforeseen difficulties,
I didn't realise quite how bad this one was here, so...
they've created the bedroom they've been dreaming of for so long.
We absolutely love it. I feel like it wasn't that long ago. I can literally remember the yellow stained walls, so this is the biggest transformation.
With cosy carpets, brass detailing, and a fireplace in keeping with their chosen farmhouse style.
It's those little steps like you're taking every single day, and eventually it gets to something like this. So it feels really, really good. My favourite aspect of this room is the ensuite. Sarah's biggest concern when we first got the house was the complete lack of storage space. We've had to try and innovate as much as we can. So when I was building the ensuite, I decided to fit a sliding door, which has saved that floor space. Also, I've built a cupboard up above it. So any things like any big bulky items like suitcases, put up there. I'm going to make a set of doors to go in the front so we can close all that away. I love the shower as well and the tiles.
Their vision to have a big kitchen in the basement is a costly and time-consuming project. So they've concentrated their resources on the top floor in order to move in as soon as possible, and have done everything from plastering to putting in new floors themselves.
So this is the guest bedroom, or the second bedroom, and we're kind of utilising this at the moment as kind of a living area. So we've got some cooking facilities and somewhere we can just kind of chill out and hover around the fire and try and keep warm.
So we're so excited to have this room because after almost 4 years being together, we can now finally actually live together. And yes, okay, the house isn't done, but having these top 2 rooms done, somewhere we can sleep, somewhere we can have a recreational area, it means finally we can be under one roof, which is just, feels amazing really, yeah.
They may still have a way to go, but their small budget is stretching far.
So far, the project has cost me around about £10,000. A large portion of that is actually with the first fix of the electrics on the top 2 floors, which is around £4,500. A lot of the other work we've been doing ourselves.
Well, mainly you. I don't want to take too much credit, I'll be honest.
Which has saved us an awful lot of money. So the external work to the house is booked in for spring, summertime. Just due to the nature of the lime using the building, it doesn't like the cold weather, especially what we're having at the moment. So it's booked in for the future and it will be getting fixed.
So this time next year, hopefully the house is done after years of being promised it would be. And then we're going to be officially married, Mr. and Mrs. And hopefully, I'm hoping, one of the living rooms might be turned into a nursery or something like that.
In the village of Flushing, Cornwall, Danny and Danielle bought this crumbling mansion they'd loved for years for £2.25 million at auction.
And there's always been this one house.
But they suffered setback after setback, spiralling costs and the heartbreaking realisation that most of the house would need to be demolished and rebuilt.
We are spending every last thing that we have.
After disappointment, delays and much determination, they finally have the shell of their brand new house.
It feels amazing to have some walls up now, because only a few months ago there was nothing here, and now the spaces are starting to take shape. Do you realise that actually this opening here is actually going to be the size of the doors and the windows around
whole
it,
opening?
and they're going to be
That's
that
huge.
enormous.
The new house has kept the size, dimensions and ceiling height of the original, with many of the same features, like the curved bay window.
And look at that view. It's been a journey of incredible ups and downs, but I wouldn't rewind and change it because the end game has made it all worth it.
Yeah.
And the water side of the house is getting an upgrade.
We're stood on probably the best addition we could have put on
I
this
agree.
house, yeah, which is the balcony. We wanted to be able to make the most of the view.
The turret is being properly insulated, ready for their weatherproof triple glazed windows.
So the turret was an attractive and original feature when we first saw the house. We fell in love with, and we're very delighted this part of the building lives on in its original glory.
This house being in a property auction has been a godsend, because if it hadn't have gone to auction, we wouldn't have been able to buy this on the open market.
And if it hadn't been derelict, I think it would have been out of our price reach anyway. So we had euphoria winning it at auction. We've had 2.5 years since of roller coaster. We've tried to enjoy the experience and be positive throughout. Reality is it's been a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, financial concern. We've just gone through the £1 million mark of total spend, everything from rebuilding seawalls to this cliff we're standing on, to everything that we've done so far.
The children are so excited. They can't wait to get here. It's going to be wonderful. They're as excited about it as we are.
It's taken a lot of work, but it's ours, and it's going to be perfect.
Next time, two couples who spent more than they planned at auction take on all the work themselves. A £1 million purchase hides a shocking surprise.
The wall could collapse.
And a family desperate to move in.
Heather's invited all the family around for Christmas Day, so yeah, we need to be in.